everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel, This Story Ain't Over, and welcome to a new year. I am so excited about 2020 and I am starting it off with my Ambitious January TBR. So I have a lot of things I have planned for 2020 and I'm very excited about all of it. But of course, first I've planned out my TBR for January. So I thought I'd share that with you today. So based on 2019 and all of the contemporary that I read and how I didn't really enjoy my reading as much, I thought I'd kick off the year by reading one of my favorite genres, which is fantasy. So I have a mix of different books and different types of fantasy worlds, but every single book on this TBR is a fantasy book, which I'm super excited about. Okay, so the first book that I have here is Cersei by Madeline Miller. So I've heard 1,001 great things about this. It involves a character from Greek mythology named Cersei. She is like a witch or sorceress who turns men into pigs, which is like the most badass thing I ever needed in my life. So I am super excited to read this, and it kind of, I think, follows her journey, her whole life story, and how it kind of intersects with the story of the Odyssey. If you are familiar with that epic, I'm super excited about this and I think it's going to be totally awesome. And as I said in my reading goals for 2020, I do want to read more adult, so this is one of the adult books I'm going to be reading in January. Alright, the next book that I'm hoping to read in January is Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. So this actually comes out this month and I got an early copy, so I'm really hoping to read it soon. But this is the new fantasy novel written by Adam Silvera, who is known for his queer contemporaries, which I absolutely love, and I really enjoyed They Both Die at the End. So I'm really excited for this, and I perused through the opening chapter and it seems really interesting, and it's a really interesting kind of world. I believe it's set in modern day New York, but it involves these people called spellwalkers who are kind of celestials with like supernatural powers, and then there's also this like other faction of people called specters who steal powers from magical creatures. And so there are these two brothers named Emil and Brighton who have always dreamed about being kind of spellwalkers, and Brighton specifically really wants to be one, but when Emil starts to show powers, when they both reach a certain age, things kind of get a little bit tense between these brothers. And it is a story of brotherhood and also a fantasy world, and I'm just really interested by it. So I think it's gonna be awesome and great, and I cannot wait to read it. I have very high expectations, so I hope I'm not disappointed. But yeah. The next book that I'm planning to read in 2020 is The Tiger at Midnight by Swati Tirudala. So this is a book I put off reading last year. I did get the chance to interview the author at BookCon last year, so that was a lot of fun. So I'm really hoping to get to this. It is a South Asian inspired fantasy. It involves like a cat and mouse kind of game and a kind of slow burn romance, I believe. So I am really excited about it. It is part of a series, and I also have the ebook. I got it on an ebook deal, so I might end up reading this on my e-reader. So I'm excited about that. And then I have Crier's War by Nina Varela. I was hoping to get to this last year, or like at the end of last year, but I didn't end up getting around to finishing it. I did start it. I'm about 50 pages in and I am enjoying it, so I'm hoping to finish it up. It involves a queer slow burn romance between two girls, and it also involves a like fantasy world where there are these people called automata, which are basically humans that have been like created, not necessarily born. So they were created by alchemy or magic by regular humans, and then they kind of banded together and took over from the original humans, and so now the automata are just the ruling class and the humans have become this subclass. And so the main character in this book is a human whose family was murdered by the automata during the war, and so she is now a human servant serving the sovereign house of the automata, and so she's planning to rise the ranks of the house and gain access to the sovereigns, and specifically Lady Crier, who's the daughter of the leader of the automata, and basically avenge her family. And although this situation starts out as kind of a hate to love thing, obviously love is going to come on the horizon. I have heard that this is a super slow burn, so I am excited about that and I think it's going to be great. Alright, the next book that I'm hoping to read is Kingdom of Souls by Raina Barron. So this is one that I actually don't know a lot about. I have heard some good things about it, so I'm really excited about that. I also just really love the cover. I just love how the main character is just sitting on this throne. But basically this involves witch doctors. It takes place in a fantasy world, and although the main character is born into a family of witch doctors, she doesn't possess the same abilities as them, and so she's trying to find a way to gain her own magic. And so when she hears about the charlatans in the market who trade years of their lives to gain magic, she starts to consider that as a possibility, and with the looming threat of the Demon King on the horizon, she thinks that this might be something that she needs to do. I don't actually know a lot more about this, but I am really excited about it, and I have heard some really good things about it from certain people, so I am excited to read it. So those are all the books that I really want to get to this month, but I have two more that are anthologies that are kind of on the back burner for my TBR. I don't think I will get get the chance to finish them, but I'm hoping I'll get the chance to start them at least. And those are these 2 anthologies. So 1,000 Beginnings and Endings, edited by Ellen O and Elsie Chapman, and then A Phoenix First Must Burn. So this one involves 16 short stories and retellings of myths and legends from Asian mythology. So I am super excited about this one because it has a lot of authors that I really like, and I've had this on my shelf for a very long time, so I'm really hoping to get to it finally. And it is a fantasy anthology, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then this one is an anthology of Black girl magic, so it's all by female Black authors, and they are exploring the Black experience through sci-fi, fantasy, and magic. I kind of flipped through some of the stories and I am already thinking it's going to be awesome. This is actually an advanced reader copy, so it comes out March 2020, so thank you so much to the publisher for sending this to me. This one also has 16 stories. I think if I like average 1 story a day, I can probably finish both anthologies within the month. So here's hoping. But those are all of the books that I want to read this month. This is definitely a super ambitious TBR, but I really do want to get to all of these books, and I think they're all going to be really great, and I'm just excited to read a bunch of fantasy this month. I do have a bit of time at the beginning of this month to read a bunch, and then I'm hoping that I can consistently get back into a rhythm of reading. I feel like I used to be in the habit of like reading before bed every night, and I've kind of fallen out of that habit, so I'm hoping to get back into that, and I feel like that might actually work this month. So here's hoping, fingers crossed. I'm just really excited about 2020 in general and January, and we're just gonna see how this goes. But yeah, that's about all I have to say for my TBR. Let me know down below what you guys are planning to read in January. If you have themed your TBR in any way. I didn't intentionally plan to theme my TBR, but it just ended up being a fantasy TBR, so I'm really excited about that. And let me know down below if you are interested in any of the books that I am planning to read this month, or if you have read any of them, please let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching, but until my next video, please remember that the story ain't over. Bye!